Welcome to another edition of the Gridiron Report. I'm Jared Johnson, and it's been a cursed, disappointing season for many reasons. With the Red Raiders at 3-5 now, overall 2-3 in the Big 12. A lot of injuries, obviously. Just poor play, and just a lot of things haven't gone Texas Tech's way. Perhaps I'm just a glutton for punishment. I get it. But I do believe there are some reasons for optimism going into the final third of the season. Maybe Texas Tech can go on a little run here and finish the season strong. I mean, they did last year. Different team, don't get me wrong. But I do have some reasons or a sliver of optimism to offer up to Red Raider fans out there. And here are my reasons. One, Baron Morton returning. And I was at Joey McGuire's media availability Wednesday afternoon. He said that the range of motion that Morton has in his shoulder is better than since he first injured. He's still banged up. He still has a sprain in his shoulder, but in terms of throwing, how he feels, all that, he's the best he's been since before that injury against West Virginia. After not playing last week and getting the bye week and all that, getting some time to rest up. So that's good. He said he's eating full pads, full go, practicing for the first time with the team since the injury. And that Baron Morton's whole countenance has changed, and he appears happier, healthy, and ready to go. That's huge. I mean, that's a big deal. Another reason for optimism is Jacob Rodriguez, inside linebacker, a guy who's expected to be a overall team leader, one of the best players in the middle of your defense. Is returning against TCU, so that'll help. You'll have him and Ben Roberts and Josiah Pierre and Bryce Ramirez all in there inside linebacker. That's a really good rotation there. How many snaps Jacob will get to play in the first game? Will probably be 25 to 40 is what McGuire said. So, but that's, hey, I mean, I'd take that. I would have taken that in a lot of games this year. So we'll see what kind of impact he has on that side of the ball. So there you have it. Two of your top players, your leaders, your quarterback, and a guy in the middle of your defense and inside linebacker, team captain, returning from injury. That's huge. But there's been another development that I think could be, I don't know about equally huge, but could be a big deal. And that's Dennis Wilburn sliding over from right guard back to center, where he started all 13 games last year. Him and Rusty Stats are switching positions. Bottom line is his stats have not worked out at center this year. I know McGuire said he was injured and pointed to that for some of the poor snaps against BYU, but he even admitted that there were some erratic snaps before. I think there have been erratic snaps throughout the season, and the stats hasn't really been just good overall as a center. Nothing like we were expecting and hoping going into the season. Wilburn, it was sold. He was sold, or his move to right guard was sold as his more natural position. Even Wilburn, Dennis himself told me before the season it's his more natural position. He's excited about it. But I think Dennis last year was a dang good Big 12 center. I mean, he did some really good things. He was one of the biggest positive surprises of last year. And so I really like him moving back to center. I think he could really settle some things down. A lot of times, all these erratic snaps, like I think actually McGuire said that 26% of the snaps against BYU were off target. I mean, come on, that's a fourth of your snaps starting off with the quarterback having to take his eyes off what he's doing, whether it be in the running game, reading defenses, in the running game, or obviously in the passing game. So, and I think that played a role in some of the missed handoff exchanges and stuff like that. So I think this could be like a low-key, huge development for Texas Tech, and I hope Wilburn remains the center for the rest of the year. So those are three reasons for optimism right there, and I think they're big ones. I really do. I think those are big parts of the game that if you can improve would be huge. And then, God forbid, Texas Tech actually even out or win the turnover battle. I think they're negative. They were -8 in the two losses against Kansas State and BYU, and they had 5 turnovers last week, 3 in the second half against Kansas State the week before, and they have not come up with any turnovers. I asked McGuire about why haven't you been able to come up with turnovers? What do you think? You think it's pass rush? And he said, well, sometimes if they throw you the ball, you just got to catch it. And he said it with the type of emphasis like, come on, like the plays have been there to make, just make them. And he mentioned some of the players who dropped interceptions. So, I mean, they started making those plays. get the quarterback back, get your stud linebacker back, get the right guy at center. I'm just saying there are legitimate reasons for optimism over the final fourth of the season. You got TCU on November 2nd, a Thursday night game. You have also UCF at home. You play at Kansas. You play at Texas to end the season. Can you win 3 of those games? I think it will probably be difficult for the Red Raiders. But I think with this information, I feel a lot better about their chances than I did just a couple of days ago. They went on a really nice run, won their final 4 games, final 3 of the regular season in the bowl game last year. Maybe they can make some kind of similar run this year. It would put it would change the narrative going into the off season. And I know it's like, next season, always next season. And nothing's going to change the fact that this is disappointing compared to expectations and all that. But, there's a big difference between winning 6 or 7 games or winning 3 or 4, so we'll see. And it starts against TCU Thursday night. But there's my sliver of hope, reasons for optimism during the bye week. Thanks for watching, and until next time.